Mr. Park the man smiles, enjoying watching the work of the boy. Oh, let's just wait. My friend is talking on the phone in the car. He will finish and come in here with his wife. So just be a good boy and take their orders. How everything inside shrinks unpleasantly when this casual and humiliating be a good boy touches the ear. Compared to Mr. Park, the memory of Mr. Kim saying it now seems much more pleasant. Somehow, Jungkook notes to himself, Mr. Kim words don't have that nauseating stickiness that they have now. Yes, sir. He just nods softly, pouring some milk into the pitcher and turning back to the coffee machine. The boy hears the door open and close somewhere behind him, and two more pairs of slow footsteps reverberate across the floor. He tries to keep his breathing even, thinking that he only has to quickly make this damn coffee for his new boss and his friends, and then sit here for just a few more hours, and then he can return home and finish this absolutely stupid, disgusting, vile day. Basically, the same as all of his previous days, but still. Only you could buy a hole like this in the hope that a successful business will come out of it. Hanbin, a soft yet confident female voice sounds completely unimpressed, and something in Jungkook tightens. Perhaps this is an unnecessary reminder that even the place of his work is no less pathetic than himself, makes itself felt. Don't you think so, darling? She lets out a laugh. Your friend is making a mistake again, and you haven't even tried to give him some advice. It's none of my business what he spends his money on, darling. A familiar voice cracks the evening silence of the coffee shop with a painful fear, and Jungkook flinches, releasing the pitcher, and in the next second it lands on the floor with a loud bang, splashing milk everywhere and soiling the boy's worn red Converse. He breathes nervously and abruptly, then turning around sharply, and exactly 3 pairs of eyes are fixed on him now. 1. Mr. Parks, surprised and slightly derisive, but too interested in such an unexpected clumsiness. The second is female, cold, with a barely perceptible drop of disappointment. She probably thinks I'm so pathetic that I can't even brew coffee. The young woman arches her eyebrow in thinly concealed surprise at such an unskillful me. And then there's the stare of those bright green eyes that Jungkook stares into too often and too close at nights. He stares now too. And he sees a whole range of emotions in them, not even knowing which one he wants to grab onto first. It's all here, from surprise to displeasure. The desire to ask 1,001 questions, frustration and even anger. Jungkook doesn't quite understand where the anger came from, but he does know that Kim now realizes who the coffee boy was all this time. Jungkook feels his stomach twisting into a knot, the gears in his head not knowing which way to turn. Everything around him suddenly freezes, and he thinks that his heart has stopped beating from fear altogether. Because he's here. Kim Taehyung, his boss, who pays Jungkook for stripping and touching, is right here. He stands on the other side of the counter, stares intently, playing with his cheekbones, and in a confident pose still holds his hands in the pockets of inexpensive trousers. Expensive trousers. Oh God, yes. And who allowed him to look like that? Jungkook swallows nervously. He thought Mr. Kim looked too good when he arrived at the club. But no. No, this is what he looks like when you can say too good. His dark red striped suit, button-down black shirt, and expensive-looking black unbuttoned coat, in tandem with well-dosed styling, make it look like he escaped from the movie. And he escaped not to look into this pathetic coffee shop so that Jungkook could make coffee for him. For him and his goddamn wife. The boy licks his parched lips as his gaze flickers back to the woman. And Jungkook is out of breath. She looks so young and so expensive. Her pretty Asian appearance contrasts with her straight posture, with cold, confident gaze, and a facial expression that shows complete disappointment with what is happening. Jungkook takes only a split second to look at her baby blue tweed suit and snow-white coat draped over her shoulders. He sees the same snow-white bumps on her slender long legs. God, it's December outside. Massive earrings in which stones shimmer, and dark hair perfectly pinned up. How good she is! Jungkook was sure that Mr. Kim was one of the most attractive people he had ever met. But now it seems that a man can be removed from this pedestal by his wife. The realization of this simple thing once again hits Jungkook in the gut. God damn it, Mr. Kim is married. Married to a woman. He is married. He's married to her. And does he really fit Jungkook so often to have fun and get turned on? Doesn't this sound like the worst joke that life has played on him to this day? So a woman's voice, clearly addressed to someone who isn't Jungkook, makes him startle. Hanbin, if we're here to see how your new employees can't handle something, I'm even more disappointed than usual. Hanbin chuckles, rolling his eyes with a smile, and turns back to the boy. Jungkook? Kindly, honey, clean up here and take the order from my friends. Otherwise, we will soon be late for the theater. Yes, sir, honey. Taehyung plies with his cheekbones and looks away. Who is Hanbin to call his little boy honey? And the trembling sir that escaped Jungkook's lips in a voice so familiar to Taehyung only makes things worse. If Jungkook has to tremble in front of anyone, it should be Taehyung, he thinks. Taehyung and no one else. Jungkook, on the other hand, quickly hides his eyes and begins to clean up the mess from the floor, and then washes his hands and looks at Mr. Kim and his wife. What can I get for you finally? The woman lets out a quiet laugh, but Jungkook, to his own surprise, no longer hears annoyance in it. I'll be the regular coffee, she nods curtly, even giving Jungkook a short glance. Yes, mom, he nods, typing the order into the cashier machine immediately. And what can I get for you, Sir? Jungkook asks quietly, trying not to look at Taehyung. And Taehyung feels the anger boil up inside of him instantly. Jungkook didn't even raise his eyes, you know. And is he pretending to see him for the first time? Taehyung is furious. For me, he clicks his tongue, then snorts softly in derision. Choose something for me. You have to be a professional if you work here, don't you? Jungkook swallows painfully, and then takes a deep breath, but still doesn't look him in the eyes. I'm sorry, sir, I'm not sure I know what you would be, but Hanbin cuts him off, laughing. Don't listen to my friend, Jungkook. He leans on the counter, leaning a little closer to the boy, and Jungkook can even smell the perfume hitting his nose. Just make something for him. What exactly, sir? Hanbin glances over at him, then gently adjusts the boy's apron. He's hardly as sweet as you are. So, I don't know, maybe he'll get by with a simple latte as you say, Mr. Park. Nodding, Jungkook adds one more item to the order and gets to brewing. Taehyung, barely able to keep his lips from curling in disgust, turns his head towards the window, but meets his wife's gaze. Your friend is simply disgusting, she states mockingly. As if you didn't know this before, my dear, Taehyung mutters coldly, and then he still looks out the window, adding a little quieter just for her. I told you that we should have sent him to hell with this bitter invitation. Oh, come on, she laughs softly, shaking her head. We haven't been out anywhere for a long time anyway, and there will certainly be many of our partners there tonight. Premiere night, Harold. Taehyung nods, jaw clenched again, and tries to ignore Hanbin's ongoing flirtation with his Jungkook. Somehow, even the thought of his boy dancing for other men usually doesn't anger him as much as what's going on right now does. But perhaps it's just that he knows what Hanbin's thoughts are. When the woman's phone rings, Jungkook barely flinches, afraid of the unexpected sound. She looks around the room with an irritated exhalation, and then looks at Hanbin. "Where can I talk?" "It is a business call. I need privacy. The restrooms are over there." He waves his hand away, barely looking at her, and points in the right direction. Without showing any inner annoyance, Mrs. Kim goes away, leaving the three alone. The boy feels even more uncomfortable. Hanbin keeps talking and flirting with him. Jungkook pretends to be busy making coffee, and Taehyung is just looking at him. He follows what is happening with an attentive look, but not a single muscle twitches on his face. The man is cold as a block of ice, and frightens with his calmness. And to be honest, Jungkook is the only one who is scared by this, because now Jian is aware of the thought that squeezes his throat uncomfortably. Mr. Park and Mr. Kim know each other, and one of them rewards him with obsessive attention and flirting, and the other one makes him come for money. Jungkook doesn't even know which is worse. But in one case, at least he gets paid. "And, I think I'll change your uniform," the man reasons, touching Jungkook's apron again. "I want to make this establishment a high level, so I will get your uniform. You'll walk around in a white shirt, I think." He bites his lip, shamelessly running his eyes over the boy's body, and Jungkook reflexively shrinks inside, feeling how all his organs are tied into an unpleasant, painful knot. "What do you think?" My friend Hanbin turns to Taehyung with a smile, oblivious to his gaze and furrowed brows. "Just imagine how good he would look in an unbuttoned white shirt, huh? Such collarbones and neck cannot be hidden. It would be a crime. It would be a crime if I tried to kill you right now," Taehyung thinks, though he skillfully ignores the inner desire. "I don't even know," he clicks, trying to appear uninterested, and then meets with the frightened eyes. "I think there are quite a few options in which he would look good, and none of them have your participation," the man mentally adds, ignoring his friend's gaze, and continues to look at his boy. "And white shirt?" "Really?" he adds after a short pause, and then lets out a chuckle. "Boring, Hanbin. Jungkook will only get a white shirt if I let him wear mine after I'm Hanbin," Taehyung wants to say, but he limits himself to voicing these thoughts only in his head. "I'll think about it some more," the man nods, turning back to Jungkook and smiling cheekily at him. "Don't worry, honey, you'll look even better than you do now. I'll come here just to look at you." Taehyung is going to vomit now. And then he'll probably punch Hanbin. And maybe the man wants to come closer and force Jungkook to take his clothes off to show all the fingerprints Taehyung left on his body. Maybe he wants everyone to see how obedient Jungkook can be to him. Wants to show that only Taehyung is actually allowed to come and look at this boy. No one else. Especially Hanbin, who, damn it, every time he talked about the coffee boy, he was actually talking about Jungkook. Taehyung is so mad,